Bundeep.
Hi, I'll start off a little bit about myself. I grew up in 3 different continents, which is fine, except that I also run businesses right now across 3 different continents, all at the same time, which means a lot of long-distance flying. Well, long-haul flights are great to contemplate the finer points of life, including the Kama Sutra, which is challenging to some of our theories about progress, because progress is not always linear. It's quite often cyclical. That's a little Eastern way of looking at things. And it produces a society where you can revisit the past, because today is not always necessarily better than yesterday. The Kama Sutra is essentially a book about sex. It's a study of the philosophy of sex and interpersonal relationships between men and women. It also defines roles about intimacy, and it's all about giving. It's not what is commonly perceived to be. It's about a spiritual context of pleasing the other person. It's about giving and not taking, which is vastly different from our self-gratifying society today. Now, Kama Sutra got suppressed and sidelined over the years. We had the Mughal invasion in India in 1526, and then the British invasion that brought in Victorian and Protestant values in 1773. So it kind of got suppressed and sidelined for a couple of centuries, then got rediscovered, of course, in the 1980s when the first visual representation of the Kama Sutra appeared. So it's fairly recent. And of course, there was an extract in 1972, quite famously, called The Joy of Sex. But it still is a very recent development in terms of popular culture.
And to uncover their world, a world of princes and concubines, a world where men devoted to the art of pleasure were also experts in the...
That was India about 2,000 years ago. And I'm going to ask everybody to stand up in the spirit of keeping it interactive. If you could all stand up for a second. And those of you who have vivid visual memories of really bad sex and unfulfilled sex, to sit down, please. Wow, it's doing pretty well. Actually, not so well. This is why you all need the Kama Sutra, of course. Because today's societies have made sex a taboo. Hey, there we go. Here's the winner. Because society has made gender roles very stereotyped, and it's controlled through punishment, such as acid attacks, or, of course, exploited through industries like pornography that are today a $100 billion industry, not to mention certain types of advertising. So we have to get past this, because we today stand as contrasting value systems between an open celebration of sex versus a closed, misguided, or taboo-oriented society where self-gratification and time scarcity dictates how we behave sexually. Of course, we also live a lot longer, so that makes it more difficult to be with one person and have an intimate relationship. We live 3 times as longer as before. We also have a divorce rate that hits north of 50%. And of course, amongst the top reasons of divorce, sex tops the list. So it gives us even more reason to define our sexual relations in a more healthier way. Pornography, of course, being a $100 billion industry, $3 million a second, 1 video in the US every 30 seconds, and you can see how much is spent there and how much is searched there online. This, of course, means that we've gotten, over time, desensitized because our sex ed system makes us clinical about sex. It's not about philosophically nurturing the other person, it's more about reproduction and sexually transmitted diseases. That gives rise, of course, to what we should do is make sex more fun, make it more part of popular culture, make it more philosophical, like yoga is part of Western culture, and not sideline and bracket it, but actually celebrate giving, teasing, pleasing, love, etc. Thank you.